just want to thank everybody for coming. I didn't like that tree anyway. Who's that? Collector Alliance. What'd you say? Collector Alliance lets me sell all my paintings, toys, collectibles. Check out Collector Alliance. Hey, who was that?
All right, John, welcome to the Collector Alliance. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for doing it. This is one of the first that we're going to see of this caliber for something like Star Wars that Morphy has done.
And speaking of which, we'll show the Star Wars collection that you guys just picked up.
Yeah.
Right here. First and foremost, if you would introduce yourself.
Yeah. So I work for Morphy's. Started full time in around 2015. I work in the antique advertising department.
So what do you collect specifically?
So mainly, I'm really into gas and oil advertising. That's what got me started in this when I was in high school. But as time went on, I got more and more involved in all the different corners of collecting. I got involved with Star Wars mostly with my son. My son's 5, and so watching him get into it, I wanted to get into it even more than I was when I was a kid. So a little bit of Star Wars, a little bit of modern toy, folk art, funky advertising, a little bit of everything. I grew up right outside of Los Angeles. My wife's from San Diego, so we're native Californians. Once I was getting much more involved into the collecting community and things like that, Dan Morphy, he had asked if I was interested in taking on a bigger position here at Morphy's. And I said, yeah, I would be up for that. So about 6 years ago, we left California to come out here and take a bigger role on at Morphy's, and it's so far so good. It's been awesome.
Awesome. What about, so tell me a little bit about Morphy's history.
So Morphy Auctions was started right around the year 2000, and it started as an auction house and a co-op. I think it was around 2005 or 2006 was when Dan said, okay, enough with the co-op. We wanted to just do a full-time auction house. So he built a pretty impressive gallery here in Denver, Pennsylvania. And for around 15 years now, it's just been straight auctions. So Morphy specializes mainly in firearms. That's their biggest category, antique firearms. But we also do fine and decorative art. We do gas and oil advertising, automotive advertising, country store advertising, coin-operated stuff, like antique slot machines and things like that. A lot of modern art, fine art, you name it. We do a lot with estates and things like that as well. So it also just becomes whatever we find interesting that's coming across, similar to like this Star Wars deal. We have a really well-known toy division, but this is one of the first that we're going to see of this caliber for something like Star Wars that Morphy has done.
I took a look at those videos before we presented them here, and my gosh, dude, first and foremost, I appreciate the aesthetic. I appreciate the museum style quality. And I found out today that you're part of this being Morphy's auction and this big Star Wars haul. It's really cool for you to jump on, impromptu and just answer some questions that I think a lot of us, a lot of Star Wars collectors are like their mean age is like 50, right? Okay. And most of them have successful careers, and most of them are into sci-fi. So you have an inquisitive group of individuals that are doing well in life. They're smarter than the average person. So they're always inquisitive and speculative, right? You could post something on social media that says, I like Star Wars, and they say, well, what do you mean by I like Star Wars? Let's dive deep into that. And, so there's just like back and forth things. So naturally, you're going to have individuals that are going to be really inquisitive, speculative, whatever. And so we're here today to kind of verify what Morphy's is, what the collection is, and bing, bang, boom, right?
I would be skeptical too. when I saw those photos. And I see a lot of things that get posted on the page and questions and things like that. You know, you have every right to be skeptical about how crazy of a find that is. We get that a lot in the advertising community, but nothing like Star Wars. You know, I mean, it's, first of all, your pool of the community is 1,000 times bigger than anything that I've ever been involved with as far as advertising goes. You know, so seeing all the personalities and everything involved with Star Wars, yeah, it's been a trip to when we first announced the find and things like that till now. Being a part of it's been super cool, you know, and I'm also learning along the way too. This is brand new for me, you know, so it's been really cool.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, dude, I think we have the best group out there. Personally, a lot of people are willing and welcoming of helping individuals, and we're open. And there's always a moment here and there that we have to kind of help mitigate some issues, but whatever, that's just life. C'est la vie.
No, it's a cool group, and not to go backwards, but you were the very first dude that once I saw the boxes, they weren't unpacked at all. I saw the boxes from a corner. The warehouse that we work in is like a 50,000 square foot warehouse. I work on one side, and I see these Kenner boxes. Oh, and I'm like, what's going on here? And Tommy, the toy expert here, was like, you're not going to believe this when you see it. And so we started, all the boxes were opened. So we're taking taking the pieces out of the box, and I was just in shock, looking at this. And I was like, I gotta send a text to James to show him this. And I'm thinking, I'm gonna like blow your head off. Like you're gonna be like, what's going on? What is this? And I was like, oh, I at that time I didn't realize that, you didn't know I was affiliated with Morphy's or anything like that, or this didn't even really exist yet,
Yeah. I think when I got it, I think had you said, hey, I just picked this up, then I would have been like, I thought you were sharing a find, or it's
no,
I get
it was
I get a myriad of messages, so sometimes it's difficult to fully comprehend what the message is actually encompassing, right? And for me, I'm shocked in myself that I didn't say, wait a second, what is going on? Maybe I was feeding my kid, or maybe my kid was kicking me in the shins at the moment. But yeah, man. I mean, I'm honored that you sent me that message, and
yeah, it was a whirlwind. We were looking at these boxes and just like, what is going on? I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and then seeing the Lukes and things like that. I'm like, oh my gosh! Like looking under here, like wow. I mean, this is serious.
This collection you got is incredibly impressive on a multitude of levels. Came from shipper boxes that were opened already prior to you guys receiving them. They're uncirculated items, right? They weren't circulated in stores. So they're basically as nice as you could get directly from the shipper box. Now, of course, shipper boxes are moved around, so they could still, not grade a 95, right?
Correct. Yeah,
because that can still happen in any case. But I've seen pictures. You sent me the videos. These pieces, I mean, are immaculate. They're gorgeous. And what you have 5 DT Lukes in there, 12 C cards. You have how many Boba Fett 21 backs do you have?
Don't hold me to it, but I believe it's 6. I believe there's 6 of them.
Goodness gracious. And then you have a plethora of Jedi, which is that's my forte. That's what I love. Maybe if you had sent Jedi, I would have been like, oh, there we go. And the DT Luke, it doesn't matter. I like the Jedi. That's my focus as a collector. And like for example, I have the 12 back, or I have the first 12 on Jedi. And I've gone through, I don't know how many sets of 12 backs, 12 A's and B's and C's, where I'm just like, I like the Jedi logo. I'm an aesthetic guy. I like what I like. I like what appeals to my eye. It's art to me, right? The mock itself is a piece of art. So the same way a guy looks like at a Rembrandt or a Picasso or, Banksy. Banksy's my favorite artist. That's the way I look at mock. I look at it as a piece of art, and I highly appreciate how you guys displayed the pieces. You have them in acrylic. I'm sure that you could have considered grading. You could have considered selling them as is or in big lots. Tell me a little bit about why you're selling them as is, not grading them. Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so we, Dan, Tommy, the guys around here, that I was fortunate enough to be included in some of the conversations when we had talked about the magnitude of how many pieces there were and how to go about selling them. We also have to, uh, we're acting for the consigner as well. So the consigner, he wanted it one way, which is we want them all to go now. So one cool thing as a buyer is that nothing's being held back. I'm not coming out 6 months from now with another run, another box. Oh, there's six more. It's everything, and it's all going at one time. So as a collector, I thought like, oh, this is crazy. You can't put this much on the market at one time. So there was a lot of conflicting ideas there. And then at the end of the day, the powers that be made the decision that they're going to sell it all at one time in one day. And that's how that's going to go. So it's really interesting to see how I've never been a part of something where you're seeing that many figures of that caliber sell at one time. So I'm curious myself to see how all of that goes. But thank you for complimenting the display, because at Morphy's, one of the things that I feel like sets us apart from the majority of any other auction house is the way that we display our items, our catalogs, which catalogs are second to none. They're hardbound. Everything gets its own photograph. We don't do any type of uncatalogued sales. So we get to focus on more of the premier type stuff. Dan himself went and spent the money to buy those acrylics to display them, because that's, we thought that they would display better, and just for protection of the pieces, because when we were pulling them out of the box, I'm not a professional Star Wars grader, but they're sharp. I mean, they're incredibly sharp. The color, the bubble, the figures themselves. I mean, I don't know what they're going to grade at. That's for the guys that decide when they buy them, but they're going to be high,
100%. Yeah, you can't determine what the grade is going to be, or make any guess. It's really up in the hands of the grader if people are grading. But this gives people, the cool thing about this gives a lot of people opportunity. Most of the time, high-end items like this are sent to grading, then sent to back to the auction house for the sale. This gives people an opportunity to determine if they want to grade or not. Not everybody appreciates grading. So for the individuals that want these pieces, they have opportunity to have high grade worthy items that are ungraded. And I think they're going to get better bang for their buck because of that. Personally, I can't guarantee that, but grading most of the time adds a premium. So in that fact, I think you guys are doing a really big service for the community as a whole. By not grading, you're saying, hey, this is what it is. You guys get it. We're an auction house. We're a business. We think this is awesome. We think this is cool. You did your due diligence, but at the same time, you're an auction house.
Our job for the auction house is to promote the pieces as best as we possibly can, social media and in person, things like that, cataloging it, describing it. We brought in people out of house to come in house to help with the descriptions of that piece, because we thought that would be the best idea. And believe me, the discussion of grading them was on the table. One thing that I really enjoy about what's going on is, to me, it's a little bit more of, like you said, it's going to be a free-for-all as for what happens with those pieces, where when you get a numerical grade on an item, now your position as far as value. It certainly clears up a lot of the question about any particular figure, but going this route to me is much more of, it's going to be a free-for-all. Who knows what it's going to bring.
Yeah, true. Well, dude, I mean, I'm really excited that, first off, I apologize for not jumping on it and being like, hey, do you need some help? Who knows what was going on in that moment? That was my huge, probably error of the year last year. So we'll put that in last year's error, right? And we're starting fresh this year. So regardless, I've appreciated you and have gotten to know you, and like your personality, and we've done business, and everything's been great. So I've gotten to know you on a personal level, and I had no idea you were part of the Morphy's auction. So it's all new to me, and it's kind of we're putting the pieces together, and it's cool. Again, you said, hey, there was a lot of individuals with speculation how to sell it, this, that, and the other, and you guys you had to make a decision. And no matter what decision you made, some people are going to love it, some people aren't going to love it, and you just have to go with your gut. And personally, when I, you know, I'm a retailer as well, and I have my own online shop. So when I get pieces, I actually sell them as is, right? I don't typically grade them. I typically just get the piece and I sell it, and bing bang boom, we're done. So I let the buyer decide if they want to grade that item or if it's already graded, whatever.
Sure.
But so tell us. I think we went. I saw some loose figures too. So there's more than just mock, right?
Yeah. So you and I had talked before about you know, loose figures, comics, and things like that. I had mentioned to a few different guys that I knew, which is very limited in the Star Wars community. All I had mentioned to them, I said, "Hey, we've got this incredible find. If you're interested, you should put any consignments that you'd like into this sale because you know it's going to complement the find portion of the sale." So there's other consignments that are Star Wars that are not, they don't belong to that particular consigner. It's just everybody, as the news broke, well, I want to put a few pieces in there as well. So if you look at that entire sale, you've got, well, you've got the incredible Star Wars stuff, but you've also got some outstanding unopened wax for sports cards and things like that. You've got early press steel toys. I mean, you got a little bit of everything. So I think that's kind of cool, you know, that it's going to be a mix of everything. But as an auction house, you handle multiple consigners in one sale.
So tell me, where did the collector, this collector came to you and he said, "Hey, I have this. I want it all sold at once, yada, yada, yada." Where did he acquire it? Was he the first owner? Did he get it from Kenner? Where did this come from?
So this is third party, you know, of course. But what we were pitched was that those figures were bought directly and they were stored, basically opened, viewed, stored, put away from the day that they were purchased until he called Morphy Auctions and said, "Guys, I have something that I'd like to consign to the sale." It's Star Wars figures, which we get that call all the time, but we didn't realize what kind of Star Wars it actually was.
Right. So, okay. So did he buy it in the 90s, in the 80s? Do you know that?
You know, if I remember correctly, what he had said that he had bought every year that the films were made, had bought them for his kids. He had bought them for his kids' friends to try to, you know, tuck away or something like that. And I guess that his children did not have an interest in that kind of stuff. So when the time came, rather than it going to the children or anything like that, it came straight to the auction house.
Wow. So he's first owner.
Yeah, first owner. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's incredible. His kids must like Star Trek or My Little Pony or something like. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know.
But interesting. Okay. So he picked these items up years and years ago, held on to them and said, I like them. I'm not going to open them. My kids aren't interested. So it's kind of a perfect storm. And then realized, oh my gosh, the Star Wars market's doing pretty well right now. It's probably a good time to unload this. Maybe he kept a few for himself. I don't know. If I were him, I would.
You know, I think that was probably always the consigner's plan, was to sell them.
Wow.
I don't know if he or anybody really was aware of what the figures would do over the course of 30 to 40 years. You know, I don't think anybody really knew what was going to happen.
Yeah. Well, sounds like he has some really good foresight, and maybe I should ask him to pick my stock.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible. I mean, because God only knows, he probably picked these up, you know, pennies on the dollar back in the day. You know, if he bought them direct, it couldn't have cost him more than $100, you know,
my guess is
in the day,
you know, something like that.
Yeah. My goodness. Do you know, and he's from the United States, I presume.
Yep. Midwest.
Do you know if he bought it from a particular store, you know, a Kmart or?
I wish I had that info for you. You know, unfortunately, I wasn't directly with the consigner, but I know that he's from the Midwest. But you know how they were directly acquired, I don't know.
That's amazing, man. And it's cool that he chose you. That there's a plethora of auction houses, but somehow he must have chosen you. Do you know why he chose Morphy's specifically?
I believe that he or one of his colleagues had consigned their collection to Morphy's, which was not Star Wars related, and had a really pleasant experience with Morphy's. And the consignor had known that, oh, we also have a toy division as well. And that's how the collection came to us.
So word of mouth is king.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. This is amazing. Goodness gracious. So tell us, I think we can pretty much close on the idea. How do people jump onto the auction? Where do they go? What's and if you could delve into what's their like buyer's premium, maybe even seller's premium, etc.
You gotcha, man. So if you'd like to preview right now, you can go to morphyauctions.com. And actually, I think the banner right now is the toy sale in February. So you can click on that and it'll take you through a digital catalog. You can call the front desk and have an actual catalog sent to you. When it comes to bidding, you can bid on multiple platforms. You can bid through Morphy Live, which is in-house. You could bid on Morphy Live, the platform, online. You can bid through live auctioneers. You can bid through proxy bid. You can bid on the telephone, which is my personal favorite. If you want to do that, you would just need to come up with the lots that you'd like to bid on and call the front desk and tell them you'd like to get on the phone bid list, because it is a live auction. I noticed with a lot of toy sales, it's a callback sale, or it is the timed style. This is going to be a live auction. So it sells when it crosses the block. At Morphy, we charge, go ahead.
Question about that. So it sounds like you have 4 different avenues or 5 different avenues for individuals to bid. How do you organize all those bids into, because you have to funnel them down to, you receiving and then projecting that information to the public. So how do you gather all of that?
So in an auction house, in any type of setting, the bid generally always goes to the floor as far as first bid, meaning if you're in auction on the floor bidding, you will get the first bid, but it's going to come in by whichever platform it comes on, be it live auctioneers, Morphy Live, telephone. Whoever gets their hand in the air first is getting the bid. So you've got multiple platforms all competing against each other, and then right now bidding is open. So it will open at whatever the bid is at currently.
So if somebody were to bid on the live auctioneers or your personal site, do they communicate with each other and then funnel? Okay. That's I better understand that. Okay. So what we see right now anywhere as the bid or the price point that it's at currently is the price point that it's at currently.
Correct. So, I know that the Lukes have some bids. I don't know specifically what they're at, but just for, math's sake, let's say they're at 5,000 right now. So what that's going to be called is left action. So that auctioneer, whoever is auctioneering that day, they're going to open up at the left bid and then it goes live. So James could be in the front row bidding, 5 to 5,500. Live auctioneers, proxy bid, the telephones, and Morphy Live are all going to be bidding against each other on auction day.
So if I decide to fly out there and bid in person, can I do that today, or is there a specific day that I would need to go do that?
If you were going to actually come to the sale to bid, you would come auction day.
Auction day. Okay. Yeah. Closing day, which is February.
The sale is February 1st through the 3rd, I believe. So, and the Star Wars is the first day. So I believe that'd be February 1st. You would be coming auction day, which I know it's different because other auction houses have closing day, but this is auction day, meaning it's closing as soon as it hammers.
And if I come there and I bid in person, does that translate technologically to the sites as well? Do you guys input that somewhere?
Of course, yeah. So
okay,
the auction
gotcha.
will input that as the day is going, and also one thing I always try to let everybody know across all categories is that every auction house generally charges a buyer's premium. The cheapest buyer's premium is going to be through Morphy Live on our own site, which is going to be 20% if paid by cash or check. Now, if you bid through live auctioneers, they're going to add their fee on. If you pay by credit card, I believe it's another 3%. So if you bid through competing platforms, sometimes you have to pay a little extra, and maybe some people like to bid through that. That's totally cool. But usually I try to tell people to bid through Morphy Live or to bid on the telephone. If you bid on the telephone, you pay by check or cash, you're going to pay 20%.
Gotcha. Okay, cool, man. Any questions for me?
No, man, I'm psyched. Like I said, I'm a novice when it comes to Star Wars. We've talked a little bit about my collection and some of the things that that I like. And I think that, I mean, this is just going to be a really cool day, and it's a good day for Morphies. I think it's a good day for the hobby just because more and more eyeballs are on it. And I mean, I've got guys in my category that are calling me saying, hey, what's up with this? What's up with this Star Wars sale? Is there something I need to buy in there? You know, you have multiple people across all categories. And I'm saying, you know, these are holy grail pieces that are, I think they're going to be chased by people even outside of Star Wars too. So sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad, but I think that rising prices is good for everybody's collection.
Amen, man. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for giving the info about the collection, about who you are, about what Morphy's is. There may be other questions, and I'll forward those to you if we get those, but I'm sure you've been getting a slew of those already. But man, I impromptu stoked to chat with you and better understand everything. So
yeah, no, I'm happy to help. I'm just as excited as you guys are. I hope that this draws more people towards Morphees. I hope it draws more people towards auctions type settings. You know, I hope that, you know, the consignments do well and we get more in the future. You know, I mean, it's been super cool.
It's awesome, man. All right. Thanks so much.
All right, man.